A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Mariam Vijayaratna. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Budget will allocate more and more for education, State Minister tells Parliament. Mobile application to be set up for expatriates to send money, Central Bank reveals. News in detail. State Minister of Education Reforms, Open Universities and Distance Learning Promotion, Susil Premajayantha says the allocations for the education sector from the budget next year will be increased compared to the previous years. State Minister Premajayantha said this while answering to question raised by Batticaloa District Parliamentarian Shanekyan R. Rajsamanikam regarding some national schools unattended by the authorities in the Eastern Province.
I
will answer to your particular question. Right. When selecting the national schools, there is a criteria, and the provincial administration who ultimately proposed certain schools to be converted to a national school. All the national schools will be given funds by the line ministry, and the schools under provincial administration, the allocations given by respective provincial councils. And even this budget, of course, you find, if you go to the appropriation bill, the draft, it is proposed to increase some amount for the education in the budget 2022. So certainly this will be taken into consideration and funds will be allocated through provincial administration in the 2022.
Honorable Minister, ගරු ඇමතුමා මම කියන්න හැදුවේ මම මේ මෙන්ෂන් කරපු ස්කෝල ඔක්කොම ප්‍රොවින්ෂල් නෙවෙයි. මේ ඔක්කොම ජාතික පාසල් මම දැන් මෙන්ෂන් කරේ. පට්ටුරුප මධ්‍ය මහාවිද්‍යාලයම ඒ පට්ටුරුප මධ්‍ය මහාවිද්‍යාලය නැෂනල් ස්කූල්, කළදාවල නැෂනල් ස්කූල්. ඒකට ප්‍රොවින්ෂල් එකට ඩිරෙක්ට්ලි සෙන්ට්‍රල් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකෙන් ඇමතුමා ඒකට මේ ෆන්ඩ්ස් ඇලොකේට් කරන්නේ. ප්‍රොවින්ෂල් එක හරහා නෙමෙයි එන්නේ ඒකට. මම අමාත්‍යාංශයට ගිහලා ඇහුවා. එතකොට ඒක සෙන්ට්‍රල් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකේ බජට් එකෙන් ඇමතුමා එන්නේ ප්‍රොවින්ස් එකට සම්බන්ධ anyway. That's you can look into that. මගේ රික්වෙස්ට් එක තියෙන ඇමතුමා මේ මං කියපු ඉස්කෝල දැනට නැෂනල් ස්කූල්ස් අවුරුදු 30ක් හැටියට තියෙනවා සර්. ඒ ටික
වෙන්නේ දැන් මේ පාසල් සිලෙක්ට් කරලා තින්නේ. දැන් මේවා දැන් තමයි මේ ලයින් මිනිස්ට්‍රි එකට එන්නේ. එතකොට එතකන් තිබුණේ ප්‍රොවින්ෂල් කවුන්සිල් එක.
National People's Power parliamentarian Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that artifacts should freely be available for the entertainment of general public and not to be stored by the people who have wealth more than necessity. JVP-led NPP parliamentarian Dr. Amarasuriya made these observations while speaking on the Pandora Papers in Parliament yesterday.
එක පැත්තකින් විශාල වශයෙන් මුදල් හම්බ කරන පිරිස් ඉන්නවා. I think the Pandora Papers that everyone is talking about now has revealed the wealth that is generated in this country. There are people who have so much money that they don't know how to spend it. And they spend that money on purchasing objects of art, which are then stored in warehouses, depriving even the public of having access to those works of art. Now, as we all know, works of art should be accessible to the public. Works of art are created by the artist for public enjoyment, for people to see, people to enjoy these creative works. But in our society today, these objects of art become a source through which people who have too much money or money that is earned in illegal ways use their wealth to buy up these objects and then deprive even the general community of having access to them. This is just one example, I think, of the utter inequality, levels of inequality in our country, which creates such a huge disparity among those who have access to wealth and those who have not.
Tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka more than doubled in September from August, with over 13,000 travellers entering the country in September, making it the first time since the COVID-19 outbreak for the country to welcome over 10,000 visitors in a month. This could be observed in the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority's monthly tourist arrivals report for the month of September 2021. In August, Sri Lanka saw 5,040 tourist arrivals in the island, while in September the country welcomed a total of 13,547 travellers, the highest number of arrivals witnessed for the year 2021 since the country opened borders in January. Tourism Development Authority stated that a considerable growth in arrivals in the month of September can be observed following the sharp contraction in arrivals after the month of April. This could reflect the improvement in international tourism owing to factors such as an increase in vaccination programs around the world, softer restrictions for vaccinated travellers, and growing consumer confidence. SLTDA further pointed out that at the end of September this year, 37,924 tourists had visited Sri Lanka for this year, and it was declined of 92.5% over last year. They also announced that over 500,000 tourists had visited the country during the first 2.5 months last year, just before the COVID-19 issue. The increase in September tourist arrivals was led by India, which accounted for 63% of the market share, followed by Pakistan and Germany. Region-wise, Asia and the Pacific became the largest source of tourist traffic to Sri Lanka, with 78.9% of the total traffic received in September 2021. According to SLTDA, given the adverse impact of COVID-19 on the region's contribution, September performance can be considered as significant growth. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
අන්තර්ජාලය ෆයිබර් සමගින් බලකැන්වෙන තැන ඉස්සර වගේ නෙවෙයි දැන් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රථම වේගවත්ම සහ පුළුල්ම ප්‍රීමියම් ෆයිබර් අන්තර්ජාලය SLT Mobitel Fiber දේශීය ෆයිබර් බලවේගය.
Difficulties in learning? Welcome to the 9A's workshop. It's facilitated with fun, love and excitement.
9A's workshop is the best.
9A's workshop is great.
I learned how to learn by 9A's workshop.
It's a study booster. Join us.
Every child is great and born to win.
Founder Dilip Waniarachi for students of grade 6 and above for both local and London syllabuses.
Welcome back after the break. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka said it is setting up a mobile application with banks and the clearing house to make it cheaper for expatriate workers to remit money home. Large volumes of remittances have gone off official channels after money printing and low interest pushed imports and undermined credibility of the exchange rate peg. Sri Lanka has decreased 200 rupees to the US dollar exchange rate without giving full convertibility, making it difficult to enforce. Overseas workers are getting high premiums to send money through traditional cross-border gross settlement systems such as Undial and Hawala, used for trading from the time of ancient empires, and avoid carrying money for net settlement. A working committee has proposed the setting up of National Remittance Mobile Application or SL Remit. Central Bank in a statement said that it will have self-registration of users, the ability to link to global money transfer operators and global finchers to facilitate remittances from any country, instant fund transfer to any bank account or mobile wallet in Sri Lanka. In addition, the application would include value-added services such as direct bill payments, attractive foreign exchange rates, and low transaction fees. Accordingly, Central Bank will now implement the SL Remit mobile application with the assistance of stakeholders including the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sri Lanka Banks Association, Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment, and Lanka Clear Private Limited. Head of Research at First Capital Holdings, Dimantha Matthew, commenting over the behavior of Colombo Stock Exchange, says that investor sentiment was totally positive during last 5 days. Exclusively speaking to the State of Business by Art Television, they were also experiencing a continuous uptrend.
Overall activity levels in the market, we saw 30,000 plus transactions on a continuous basis, and overall the uptrend there was a bit of a break in the uptrend only on Tuesday, where we saw a bit of a decline. Otherwise, ignoring that date, on all days we saw significantly green days, and the investor sentiment was extremely positive. So we saw a bit of the institutional and the high net worth individuals sort of staying in the sidelines during this week, because the market was completely dominated by the retail investors, while the foreign investor segment was also sort of slow, but the participation was somewhat there. However, mostly onto negative territory, where we saw bulk of the participation was onto the sell side. So overall, we are ending a very positive week, where investors were on a continuous buy trend. We saw mostly banking sector counters getting activated during the last few days.
Head of Research at First Capital Holdings, Dimantha Matthew, also added that, however, investors will be shifting to more defensive counters by next week due to the numerous political and economic factors in the country.
We feel that there could be some sort of profit taking in some of the key retail favorite counters. So these counters has been performing continuously for over a month, and we feel that there could be some sort of selling pressure and profit taking coming into those counters. However, we feel that there could be some shift among investors, where investors may shift to more defensive counters. We feel the banking sector could be the highlight for the upcoming week. During the last couple of days also, we saw a bit of a uptick in the banking sector. So we feel that most investors may look at shifting into those sectors, and also there could be a shift into dollar income companies which have not really moved up in value. There are selected few companies that have not really moved up in value, so we feel that there could be an uptrend into those counters.
We'll be right back with the stock updates.
SLT Mobitel home broadband within online learning සහ online working සඳහා ඇදහිය නොහැකි data දීමනා GB 30ක් රුපියල් 195යි GB 100ක් රුපියල් 490යි කාර්යාලයක් පාසලක් ගෙදරටම ගෙනෙන ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රමුඛතම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් සබඳතාවය SLT Mobitel එකම එක සබැදියාව.
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a mixed note today. The all-share price index gained 7.89 points to close at 9,678.89, and the S&P SL20 dropped 8.55 points to close at 3,610.92. The turnover was 3 billion rupees and over 177 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex Rates. That's all we have for tonight. Have a great weekend. Good night.